Greetings, 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 royal family. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for clicking on the video. Well, if you haven't heard, Mr. Andre Harrell has passed away. Andre Harrell, he was a music mogul, and he's also the founder of R&B and hip hop label Uptown Records. So he did pass away Saturday, May 9th, 2020. And the details of his death are not yet known. He was only 59 years old. Harrell's passing was first announced by DJ D Nice on his IG Live early Saturday morning. And sources like Billboard, representatives from like Revolt TV, BET, they have confirmed that he did indeed pass away. Now, Mr. Andre Harrell is definitely one of the founders as it pertains to hip hop and R&B as a culture. You know, he was raised in the Bronx in New York, and Harrell actually started a career in music as half of the early 80s hip hop duo Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. The other half was Alonzo Brown. Now, the pair, they had a handful of minor hits on Billboard's Hot R&B Songs chart. The biggest being the number 31 peaking was Tom Tom Club, a sampling of Genius Rap, and that was in 1982. But Harrell, he wasn't really into the rapping thing, so he found other career aspirations, particularly after meeting with Uncle Russ of Def Jam Records, founder of Def Jam Records. So Harrell ended up being hired by Def Jam. After he was hired, he quickly worked his way up to vice president and general manager of the label, but he did leave shortly thereafter, okay? And he left to start his own New York City-based label, Uptown Records. This is hip-hop and R&B history right here. Now, his label took off real fast, you know, in the late 80s, and it was in the hip hop and R&B, you know, genre, and produced Heavy D and the Boys. Okay, that was the rap group. R&B singer I'll Be Sure, and also the group Guy. And what came out of the group Guy was Teddy Riley, who was the father of New Jack Swing. So he ended up becoming a super producer. So Uptown Records and Andre Harrell, they were making hits, they were producing stars, and they were just a part of hip hop history. Now, some say that Harrell's greatest discovery at the label wasn't really a recording artist. Well, at least not at the time. Sean Puff Daddy Combs. We know him now as Diddy, but he was Puffy Puff Daddy back in the day. So Diddy, he started off at Uptown as an intern, as most people are aware of. And he eventually worked there full-time as a talent director. And this is where Diddy ended up helping develop 90s R&B artists like Mary J. Blige and Jodeci, even producing the popular hip-hop remix Jodeci's hit Come and Talk to Me. Remember that remix? Andre Harrell ended up firing Diddy from Uptown in 93, and this motivated Diddy to start the Bad Boy label with Notorious B.I.G., which was his main artist, or his marquee artist, you could say. And the relationship between Diddy and Andre Harrell remained amicable. And in 2014, Andre Harrell did an interview with the Wall Street Journal, and the topic came up, you know, why did you fire Diddy? What was going on? Andre Harrell said, I knew it was time for him to grow. And that he did. Moving along, the 1990s. Oh my God, what a good time in hip hop and R&B, right? Like, I'm an 80s baby, so this is just like, I'm just going down memory lane thinking about all of this. So the 90s saw MCA, which is Uptown's distribution partner, and what they did was they offered Andre Harrell a multimedia deal. And this caused him to executive produce the hit TV show New York Undercover. Remember that with Malik Yoba? And it was supposed to be originally titled Uptown Undercover. And Andre Harrell also had executive producer credits in the 1991 film Strictly Business. Okay. So when you talk about mogul, like you see what Diddy has done throughout the years, this is who he learned it from. You know, you're talking about a guy who from the Bronx, you know, probably came from humble beginnings, wanted to enter into the music industry, started doing his little rap 1 2 1 2, but he's like, nah, this is not for me. Like, met up with Russell Simmons. I'm sure Russell's Uncle Russ showed him, you know, the ropes and talked to him and filled him with a whole bunch of information. He goes on to start his own record label. Discovered artists Heavy D and the Boys, okay? Mary J. Blige, Jodeci. Hired Diddy as an intern. Fired Diddy. Diddy goes off to do what Andre Harrell has been done. Got multimedia deals. Andre Harrell, this is. Responsible for New York Undercover. That was a part of our culture in the 90s. That was a part of hip-hop culture. Because if you remember, it was like a hip-hop Law and Order. You know what I mean? New York Undercover. But they incorporated hip-hop. First of all, they were in New York. Okay. They weren't traditional cops. They weren't dressed in uniform. And at the beginning, if you remember, at the beginning of every episode of New York Undercover, the hottest song played. Lost. You talk about Lost Boys. You know what I'm trying to say? You're talking about like Father MC. You talk like a lot of hip hop was incorporated into that show. This man's a cultural icon. Now, in 93, the label Uptown Records also recorded the first ever label showcase edition of MTV's popular Unplugged. Remember the Unplugged show? Andre Harrell was responsible for that. And that episode featured performances by Mary J. Blige, who was an Uptown artist, Jodeci, Heavy D, Father MC, and Christopher Williams. That was iconic. Especially for 90s hip hop, like 90s R&B and hip hop. Jodeci's cover of Stevie Wonder's Lately, that was number 4. That reached number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100. Some of your faves, it's hard for them to even be in the top 5 on the Billboard Hot 100. You know, history being made. So with the rise of hip hop, and, you know, Combs is gone from Uptown. Uptown Records, you know, started to kind of like lose relevance. So eventually he moved on, put it that way. He left the label in 95 and he became CEO of Motown. But at Motown, it was short. He got fired in 97. Harrell's work in R&B continued well into the 21st century as he was instrumental in kick-starting the career of Robin Thicke in the 2000s. You guys know Blurred Lines, Robin Thicke. And in the early 2010s, he launched Harrell Records, and that new label failed to produce hits or stars. So, you know, that was another failed business venture. But Harrell and Combs, back to Harrell, Andre Harrell and Diddy, they remained friends through the years, you know. And this led to Andre Harrell accepting a position as vice chairman of Revolt, the music television network and multi-platform brand started by Diddy in 2013. So at Revolt, Harrell was responsible for the creation of the Revolt Music Conference that began in 2014 and lasted for half a decade before being rebranded the Revolt Hip Hop Summit. All Andre Harrell's doing. And in December, I just found this out yesterday, actually. Well, today, whenever, I don't know when you're watching this. Anyway, in December, it was announced that Andre Harrell would be working with BET to bring the Uptown Records story to life as a 2020 3-night scripted miniseries. So Andre Harrell, he did an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, and he said, "I am thrilled to partner with BET Network and Jesse Collins Entertainment to share my story, the rise of Uptown Records and successful Black entrepreneurship and the management and cultivation of some of the most iconic artists to come out of the late 80s and 90s hip-hop, R&B, and soul music era." Now that is going to be a film or a docuseries or whatever it's going to be called that I would be tuning into. Now, BET president Scott Mills recently gave a statement after, the passing of Andre Harrell was publicized. Scott says, "We are mourning the loss of a cultural icon, Andre Harrell, a chief architect of the modern hip hop and R&B sound." Now, that's true. Andre was tremendously excited about sharing the origin story of Uptown Records and its pivotal role in the urban music landscape. With his tragic passing, BET is committed to ensuring that the Uptown Limited Series event tells both the Uptown story and Andre's story, that of the incredible music innovator, man, and friend to so many. So this means that this project is going to be aired on BET. BET plans to push forth with this project. This is exciting. It's unfortunate that Andre Harrell will not be here to experience this, I guess, with the public when this is broadcasted. But as far as how I feel about Andre Harrell being a hip hop head and R&B, music lover of all things late 80s, 90s, 2000s, his contribution to R&B and hip hop, I appreciate. Some of the people who he discovered and put on created music that I would consider the soundtrack to my young life. That's the best way that I can put it. So much prayers to his family. I think he did have a daughter. Not sure how old his daughter is, but he does leave behind a daughter. I respect Andre Harrell because I know the history of Uptown Records and, how he found Mary J. Blige in the Slow Bomb projects. He told the story of when he went to go and meet her and see her. So this sucks, He's definitely a mogul. I respect his contributions to the music industry. So share some of your favorite artists or memories in hip hop from the early 90s and the Andre Harrell era in the comments, Royal Family. So I just wanted to come on and give a quick video, not too long, about some updated information. So I definitely will be looking out for that docuseries, that 3-part docuseries, biopic, whatever you want to call it, about the history of Uptown Records. That's going to be good. That's definitely going to be good. So Royal Family, be sure to hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed the commentary. Like the video if you liked it. Drop down in the comments. Share some of your throwbacks, your favorite Jodeci song, Heavy D and the Boys. Let's just have a trip down memory lane. And if you haven't done so, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you click the notification bell to the right. This will ensure that you don't miss any of my uploads. Thank you. Greatly appreciate the love and support, Royal Family. I'm signing off for now, but I'll be back soon for something. Until next time, peace.